Well, the top side streets are a dangerous place, so you better tune in to a credible face like this one. Yeah, this one. And you know he's not alone, and they're coming in hot. We got a Lake so Stan and a guy who really likes baseball. I don't know why he likes baseball.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Doing it a little bit differently today. We're going to try the recorded version of these because we might mess around with getting out a video like first thing in the day, right? But we'll see. We'll see when the next iteration of Fast Break comes up. I mentioned this earlier. We are officially, according to the YouTube analytics, 1 hour of viewed content away from being able to get some monetization on the Team Hold So Rare channel. So we're going to be spinning out a couple of different membership opportunities. You'll hear more information about it. But one thing we're going to start doing with the Fast Break contest is we'll do like a first look in the morning, which will be open to everyone. And then maybe later in the day when we get more NBA news heading into the slate, we'll do a second one just for them VIPs, baby. All right, so it's the last day in this Fast Break contest, right? We're looking at 10 boards per person. So we need 50 rebounds. We need 10 blocks. This one's going to be a hard one. This is a little bit trickier, I think, because the blocks have just such wild variance. We get some interesting games on the slate, though, so excited to dive into that. I also saw there, stay tuned to some of the Fast Break updates. I saw they might be messing around with a little bit of a late swap activity. So say there's a game early in the day on a Saturday, you forget to lock your lineups. You'll still be able to lock a lineup. You just won't be able to use the game that's already been in action. So stay tuned for some more updates on that. I believe there was something else in there as well, where you can like continue to tweak your lineup until that game locks. But for tonight's action, I believe we have 10 games. We've got the Bulls and the Hornets, which I kind of want to talk about that one a little bit, I think. We got Detroit at Cleveland. However, we did see that Jared Allen now got like a late Q tag. We've got the Clippers and the Wizards. We've got the Kings in the Heat. New Orleans and Houston, Dallas and Minnesota, but Dallas is sitting most of their team. Orlando and San Antonio. Then we've got Denver and OKC, where we've got Jokic questionable. We've got SGA questionable. J-Dub already ruled out. Phoenix and then Brooklyn. And then the nightcap, Dame Time makes his return to Portland as the Bucks and those sweet, sweet Trailblazers square off. So we're going to start like we do every single time by looking at Underdog. And I've got Underdog sorted by blocks right now. And again, this won't have everybody. We'll blow this up a little bit, but wanted to just see what we've got. We're like, see Paul George, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole, all half blocks here, half blocks. Trying to find if that. So Daniel Gafford, here we go. Here's a good one because Gafford, we know, can be a double-digit rebounder, right? Fresh off that game against the Spurs, where I believe he had 16 points and 13 boards. He's on the over/under is set at 1.5. So that means Vegas has him getting 1 block or 2 blocks. So Daniel Gafford probably on the short list. Mason Plumlee's got a block here. We see Corey. Well, these are the spicy ones. These don't count as much. Bilal Coulibaly. Let's see. Jared Allen is set at 2.5 blocks and steals. So if Jared Allen plays, he's obviously an interesting one. Jalen Duren, you see DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso. Again, some of these are spicy margs. I'm less interested in that. Miles Bridges, PJ Washington. But there's no like real big daddy boys. Bam Adebayo is kind of interesting. We can talk about him as well, although I believe a lot of people have already used Bam. So again, that's why this one's going to be so hard. I mean, honestly, it was kind of funny to see them use 5 steals right? It was like 25 dimes, 5 steals. But then for this one to be 10 total blocks is quite a few blocks, right? It is quite a few blocks. There's no real play that like screams off of here. I think the one that I did want to talk a little bit about is Rudy Gobert when we get down to him, because he's in just a beautiful matchup. You can see 2.5 blocks and steals. That is what his line is set at. So let's just say it's 2 blocks, right? Rudy should eat up Dallas down low. It's going to be like Derek Lively and company trying to slow him down. Only concern here is that Minnesota gets up 1 million in this game. But Wemby is the cheat code for this one. So if you do have a Wemby, his line is set at 3 blocks. And somebody like him, because again, right, everything else we've seen so far is 1.5 blocks, basically being the highest that we've seen with Daniel Gafford, right? But Wemby at 3 blocks, you get somebody like that can get you 5 in a game, and then all of a sudden you're live. So Wemby and Rudy are going to project as probably like the best plays out here. Other than that, you're just trying to get lucky. Kevin Durant, 2 blocks and steals. But again, Nick Claxton is going to pop a little bit. Yusuf Nurkic, I guess, is fine. Yusuf Nurkic, at least a good rebounder. And then Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is one that you're probably going to want to jam in there if you can. But I think this kind of speaks to a bigger fast break like content strategy here, is that like it is important to collect the W's where you can. I think one of the things that they did well with this one is like this is one of the more difficult ones that we've seen, right? When we look at all of the contests so far. And I think if you can get out ahead of it and you know, like circle a couple that you're willing to punt on, right? Where you're like, okay, I know I need to secure X amount of W's, right? So by going through each and every one of the contests, you can do that. And then you just hope you get lucky on the slates where it's a little bit trickier. Like, again, you know, comparing to some of the other ones we've done, right? Like 55 rebounds, points in the paint, 3-pointers. The plus minus one was a weird one. Offensive rebounds, like 150 points was definitely hard because you needed 5 30-point scores, but you can get there, right? But I think when you start seeing stuff like 9 blocks and 7 steals, that was a tricky one. But even still, I mean, 9 blocks is obviously more attainable than 10. And the 50 rebounds, I feel like you can get to, but just something to think about when you're planning out your fast break contests. I think you want to just be able to, you know, circle the 2 or 3 that you're like, okay, this is going to be the really tough one. Circle the easy ones, and then kind of plan accordingly through that. But let's dive into our friends over at Momentum Labs, the JBB streets, and you'll see he has these separated by, you got rebounds over here, blocks over here, and then blocks and rebounds. Let me actually blow this up a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. So when looking at rebounds here, Rudy Gobert, 13.4, clearly the highest one. And then at blocks, he's projected for 1.8. So I think Rudy is like a must play here. And then Wemby's the next one. Wemby, both double-digit rebounds here at 10, and then 4 blocks right there. Looking at the blocks category specifically, right, there's only a handful that project for over 2, and we need to freaking average 2 tonight. Nick Claxton is another one at 2.1. You see Nick Richards against the Bulls is at 1.8. You see Jared Allen at 1.5. Scroll down a little bit further, right? Daniel Gafford, we already mentioned, at 2, and then Brook Lopez at 3. Now, Brook Lopez is tricky because he doesn't come with the big rebound ceiling, right? He only projects for a little under 7. But if you can get somebody like Rudy, and if you have Wemby, awesome. And that gives you some rebound floor, right? That helps you get to that number on its own. And then I would target these Daniel Gafford for sure, Brook Lopez as well. And then let's see what else we got over here. We see Chet Holmgren. That's another one. I'm really concerned with this OKC Denver game because we just don't know who's going to be playing in it. So this is one to pay attention to the news as we get closer. But Chet, who, you know, doesn't have the huge rebounding upside, because again, we got to average double-digit rebounds here, which I know I keep reiterating it, but this is why you need to get, it's kind of like that conversation we did yesterday with assists and steals, right? Where take 1 or 2 super high assist guys, Halliburton, who barely played and still dropped double-digit assists, I think, but playing a couple of per high ceiling assist guys and then focusing on the steals is the way to go. It's trickier tonight because, again, you need to average 10 boards per player. But I think if you can get Rudy in there, I mean, Giannis is also somebody that we should talk about as well. His blocks are 1.2, but he's a big double-digit rebounder, right? So if you can Yeah, the Rudy Wemby Giannis is the direction I would cross out dudes like I know Sabonis can maybe get like he's fresh off of 26 rebounds, but that block of 0.5, it's just I don't love it as much. I understand going after it, but I think I would do like Rudy you can get for cheap, right? So I would absolutely force Rudy in there if you have him. If you can afford Wemby or already have Wemby, I'd play Wemby in here as well. Those would be my two favorite ones. And then it really is, I think, Nick Claxton, Daniel Gafford, Brooke Lopez. I think that is kind of the direction you want to go. You probably haven't used Gafford too much, so I feel like he's pretty solid. And Brooke Lopez as well, right? So that hopefully that can get you halfway. If he can hit 3, if they hit these projections, that gets you halfway. So let's assume you can't use Wemby because the Wemby's a little bit more expensive, right? So we'll take Wemby off the board. I would start with Rudy. I would then go to Giannis. And then I would come down to Gafford, Brooke Lopez, and then maybe even force in Chet Holmgren if you can. But again, that could be a little bit more expensive. But there's a pretty big drop off after that. You really are dumpster diving. So if you can't use Chet either, then maybe we scroll over to somebody like Yusuf Nurkic, and hopefully you just run pure, as they say, when it comes to blocks. Nick Richards, Jared Allen, I'd go in that direction. And then Bam. I know Bam's only projected at 1, but we have seen Bam, he's clearly one of the best defensive bigs in the league right now. And again, even though he's only projected for 1, I forget who I said Miami was playing tonight. They are playing they're playing Sacramento. So, I mean, they should do some work down low a little bit. Şengün's another one too. I know he's not a big block guy, but that matchup against New Orleans is kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe Zion's playing some small ball over there. So I think you can go that direction. And that's it. I think it's a pretty big fall off after that. If you're taking some real dart throws, sure, DeAndre Ayton's fine. Miles Bridges, if you're karmically okay playing somebody like that. I think it's kind of interesting that Drummond's projecting 9 boards in limited minutes. Charlotte, again, is such a dream matchup against bigs. You could throw a dart on him. I think Jabari Smith does a little bit of everything. And again, I do not want to play these guys. This is not what I want to do. But if you're like, I got to throw somebody out there. Evan Mobley, listen, he's going to be in limited minutes, but we've seen him do a lot defensively. He's going to kill you on rebounds like you need, because I don't think he's going to be out there enough. You're going to need that Rudy in there and a Giannis in there as well. And then just for the sake of this show, you could also, like, if you got to do it, you could go to Charlotte. And I know I already said Nick Richards, but what about this guy?
PJ Washington. PJ Washington. PJ Washington.
All right, there you have it. All right, I think we've done 5. That's like 7 or 8 straight shows doing some fast break breakdown. So excited for the announcement of the next round of contests. Looking forward to breaking it down a little bit more. And then I think it's worth maybe in between there, maybe our first VIP show, we'll do like a full breakdown on how to attack these different types of contests when thinking about your collection, about like ranking them almost difficult to easiest and how to attack it. So we'll talk more about that as we get a little bit closer. I hope this was helpful. I hope variance is in your favor tonight, because this one is a little bit tricky. All right, best of luck. Anybody going for like the perfect run? Tonight's the night. Make it happen. All right, we're out.
Well, the top side streets are dangerous.